Chad Aull, 79th District House of Representatives. I have been active in public service for a long time here in the Commonwealth and had always wanted to serve maybe in an elected capacity, and really at one point in my life thought seriously about doing that, but life threw me a curveball. I had a second child later on and kind of had put that on the shelf and forgot about those aspirations until well, about a year ago this time, Representative Susan Westrom called me and said that she was considering retiring and would want to know if I would consider running if she were to go through that. And that made me pause and think and reflect about how important it is that we have good people in public service. You know, we need people to aspire to help their neighbors and serve their community. And at the end of the day, that's the reason I chose to run, because we still need good people who think serving the public and being in public service is a noble profession. And so I decided to give it a go. I started my Frankfort career working for Jonathan Miller when he was state treasurer. Then I worked for Steve Beshear when he was governor. I was his director of constituent services. And then when Steve picked up Lieutenant Governor Jerry Abramson to run on his ticket, I wound up working in Jerry Abramson's office for until he left to go work in the President Obama's administration. And then the last couple of years, my service here in Frankfort before I left was in the Cabinet for Health and Family Services. I was fortunate enough to get to work on the KET project, which was a pretty successful role model for other state-run healthcare exchanges throughout the country, and worked in the IT sector, and that kind of sped me down a different career path altogether, and I've been in the healthcare IT space ever since, working on the KET project. Yeah, I think there's a lot of places where anybody who's willing to work across the aisle can make impact and have influence. You know, it's no secret that I'm a Democrat, and that's fine, but you know, there's 20 of us. And so we're going to have to, in the minority party, we're going to have to work with our colleagues in the majority party and try to give our perspective and our opinions to kind of reach across the aisle and make those relationships. I'm fortunate that I come from an ag background. I grew up in rural Western Kentucky, and there's several members of the House General Assembly that I knew before politics. I was state FFA officers. I went to college with some of them. So there's a lot of folks on that other side of the aisle that where I'm going to try to have the most impact and influence is using those personal relationships and that trust that I have with those folks going back 20 some odd years prior to being in Frankfort, to just get them to talk to me about things and see where there can be compromise and issues that we can work together to, you know, really impact the lives of everyday Kentuckians. We're here serving, you know, 4.3 million, 4.4 million, however many of us there are now in Kentucky. If we remember at the center of all of our decisions and our votes and our legislation that we serve at the pleasure of the constituents, at the pleasure of our voters, if I have helped make those folks' lives better, I have done my job.